One. Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And this has been kind of fun for me, this series on the top selling wines at the store I work at, Kings Market in Friday Harbor. The top selling wines under $20 in each category. So we've covered quite a few already. We covered Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Gris, Zinfandel, and Pinot Noir. And it was very interesting. I found a couple of real ringers in there, which is really cool. And this is for my edification as well. I would like to understand why people keep coming back for these brands. Some of them I haven't tried myself in a long time. So it's really cool to do this for me. I hope it's cool for you. You can see what these are all about. Let's get started right off the bat. We're doing Chardonnay now, under $20 Chardonnay. This is the Rodney Strong. A lot of you are familiar with Rodney Strong. I actually interviewed, I should put a link, I'll find it. I interviewed the winemaker for Rodney Strong quite a few years ago. And it was a very interesting interview, very technical type guy. And he actually said he didn't like the blending process. First winemaker I've ran into that said that. Very interesting. Anyway, Rodney Strong Chardonnay, 2022, California, family owned. This rolls in at $12. Now $12 is the price I sell for at the store. Again, we talk about case pricing, excuse me. So buy by the case, you buy several cases, excuse me, you get a better deal and I pass that on to you, the consumer. All stub enclosures, these open, or screw caps, excuse me, I don't want to get all technical on you. But they were originally known as stove enclosure screw caps. Rodney Strong Chardonnay, $12. It's a little rinse here. So these are, a little on the cool side. I like to review wines the way I think most people drink them. Sometimes it is beneficial to drink white wines a little closer to room temperature just to get the aromatics, the flavor profile. But I know a lot of you, especially on a warm day like this, you're busting out a Chardonnay, you want it to be cold. We know how that goes. So it's a kind of a pale gold straw color. Let's see what we get on the nose. Get a little bit of that kind of oaky, buttery, little pineapple, pear. Yeah, like the nose actually. So, when you're talking about oak, and these guys are a little bit less expensive, so they don't use oak barrels. They certainly don't use new oak barrels. You can't afford to sell these wines at this price if you use new oak barrels. A lot of those go between $712 to $1,400, depending on if they're French or American or whatever. So that's a lot of money that goes into each bottle of wine. So to get around that, they use what they call oak staves. They use powder oak dust, which I don't like that particular method. I can taste it in the wines, but that's just me. They'll use oak staves, chips sometimes to impart that oak flavor. It's a very economical way to do it, and it makes sense, and it gives it that flavor profile that so many of you love. There you go. Let's see what we get on the palate. I totally get it. I do. It has that buttery flavor. A little pineapple comes through, a little pear. It actually has decent acidity. Actually, I like this Chardonnay. I mean, if you're going to drink a Chardonnay and you want something just really good that's not expensive, $12 is a great price. I like the Chardonnay. It's exactly what a lot of people are looking for. I like that pineapple pear. I like the acidity. Yeah, good long finish. I don't get the fakey oak powder in a bag sort of taste. Probably oak staves, maybe some oak chips. But even then, it's not super oaky, it's not chewy, it's not woody. It just has that nice buttery profile, but not buttered popcorn profile. Just nice, balanced pineapple, pear, and a little bit of butter. Nice Chardonnay, if that's the style you like. And this is what I'd call a dangerous Chardonnay because you could easily drink that whole bottle and not even think about it. So be careful with the Rodney Strong Chardonnay. Now, I'm going to go straight up B. I think it's a better than average Chardonnay. That's a great price. If you're after a Chardonnay, this is it. And I do like it when it's a winery like Rodney Strong, family owned. You know, they don't always cut corners. They're looking for a flavor profile, and they're big enough that they can afford to do things that maybe a smaller winery couldn't do, as far as oak and that sort of thing. They might even use a little, 2-year-old or 3-year-old oak on this one. Hard to say, but I like it. We're going to straight up eat it. Now, the ever popular Kendall-Jackson KJ Vintners Reserve Chardonnay 2022, same vintage. And this rolls in at $15 at King's Market, where I work. That's what I sell it for. Again, I did that because we used to sell it for more, and people from California would come up and say, hey, you know, we can get it at California for this price. Okay. So I thought, you know what can I do to get it down? So I talked to the sales rep that handles Kendall-Jackson. I said, what can I do? They said, if you buy this many cases, you can get down to this price. So that's what I do. And I pass it on. Again, a lot more golden color than the last one. Boy, this has some serious gold color on it. Hopefully you can see that. I do need to get a piece of white paper. That would be really cool. I'm going to do it one of these days when I remember. Let's see what we got on those. Definitely a pear component on the nose. I get a dusty kind of oakiness on as well. Maybe just a hint of pineapple. Loads of pear though. Lots of like Bartlett pear action on this one. Let's see what we get on the palate. A little interesting. A little more acidic, a little more brighter on the palate than the Rodney Strong, which I find quite interesting. Pineapple notes big time on the palate with a little kind of underneath that underbelly of pear. It's not citrus, and the oak is interesting. It's hardly overpowering. I wouldn't even go butter on this one. Maybe if you buttered a grilled pineapple, that might work for the descriptor. I'm pleasantly surprised by both of these. I understand the Kendall-Jackson thing. A little brighter, a little fresher on the palate. That pineapple note comes through big time with a little, like I said, little pear underneath. Long finish, nice balanced, well integrated acidity. The oak is not prominent on this one. I wouldn't go buttery on this one. I go buttery with Rodney Strong to a degree, but not with this one. Much fresher, much brighter, and good. And that way you could have this easily with the oysters. Wouldn't bother me a bit. Not as dangerous as Rodney Strong because because of that acidity there that is in there. Interesting, very interesting. They cut back on the malolactic fermentation, where it takes malic acid, like a green apple, into lactic acid, like milk. So this has more malolactic, maybe a little malolactic on this one, so they allow it to get that malolactic fermentation, secondary fermentation that kind of cuts away at the acidity, whereas Kendall-Jackson, maybe not so much. Maybe they stop it at a certain point because they want this freshness on the Chardonnay. I like it. I'm going to go B, straight up B on that one. I'm hedging towards B+, only because I like the balance on this one a lot. I mean, there's some butter there, but it's not the prominent part of this wine. So B, hedging towards B+, but not quite. Let's move on. Now this one's huge. The Jam Cellars Butter Chardonnay 2022. These are all 22s, which is really cool. And this rolls in. This is a higher price one of these. This rolls in at $19. So just under 20. But this boy, all of these, we sell a ton of them. I almost grabbed Eden Valley. That's a big seller too, but I think these three outsell Eden Valley just a little bit. I would like to try Eden Valley down the road. Boy, the color on that Kendall-Jackson was incredibly golden. Now this is closer, kind of, no, I'd call it a very golden color. Yes, very much so. So I haven't tried butter in a long time. This is a Chardonnay. Same with Kendall-Jackson. They buy by the case, and Rodney Strong as well. They'll come in and they'll buy a case, and we give 10% off a case, so that even makes it better for them. Let's see what we get on the nose. Now this has a buttery nose for sure, almost like a toasty buttery nose. Maybe off the pineapple, maybe more of the pear apple. But definitely a hint of pineapple, very smoky on the nose actually, which is very interesting. Okay, let's see what we get on the palate. Kind of a smoky, buttery, pineapple, apple, pear. Let's see what we get on the palate. Definitely a richer style Chardonnay. Of course, we're talking $4 more than the Kendall-Jackson, but definitely the butter component comes through. It kind of lingers on the palate, kind of, you know, the texture is there. Yeah, I get it totally. Kind of the pear, apple, a little bit of pineapple in there. Good acidity. I mean, it's not as bright and fresh as the Kendall-Jackson. Again, that surprises me, but it's definitely a richer, buttery style Chardonnay with a little interesting smokiness on the finish. Very curious the oak treatment on this one. This is way different than I remember it. It's funny, you have to kind of revisit these wines all the time just to kind of give yourself an idea what you're faced with. But all three of these fit into that kind of buttery, fresh, well-balanced Chardonnays. I mean, I get it. I totally get it. I'm glad I did this episode. And I think they're all for that Chardonnay drinker that likes a little bit of butter, likes that pineapple, pear, apple profile. And I would say the butter steps it up just a little bit for the money. It definitely delivers that buttery style. We sell a lot of Rombauer Chardonnay, which, you know, that's 45 bucks a bottle. We sell a lot of La Crema, which is over $20. And all of those are buttery Chardonnays. That's what people want. A lot of people want that. Now, it is true that there's a lot of people that want an oak Chardonnay, but, you know, that trend has kind of gone backwards just a little bit. I've noticed it was really strong there I'd say about 6 years ago. I mean, everybody was looking for an oak Chardonnay, and then they kind of graduate, they kind of hedge back towards this style. And like I said, this would be a great with whitefish. You could have it with a lot of different things because of the weight and the texture on this wine. And that smoky edge. You know, if I had a pork tenderloin with a little bit of a kind of a smoky seasoning on it, this would be really good with that. Seriously. So I'm going to go straight up B+ on the Jam Cellars Butter Chardonnay. I think it's a really delivers what you're looking for in that style of Chardonnay. All three of these are excellent. Just B, hedging toward B+, straight up B+. Good Chardonnays for under $20. So I get it. I totally get it. So this is very good education for me. I hope you learned something. You know, Chardonnay is a huge category. It's right up there with Cab. I think Cab and Chard kind of share the top-selling wines in the United States. And that ABC movement, anything but Chardonnay, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Chard. It's a great wine, and it has its purpose in the wine drinking community. A lot of people love it. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're enjoying these episodes, please subscribe to my channel. You'll see what's coming up. I have some more things coming up, and I'm going to graduate into other things. Of course, I'm going to do a rosé episode pretty soon as well. So subscribe to my channel so you see what's coming up. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.